take projection.
Welcome everybody to Taking on Sports. I am TD. That is Greg. Greg, how you doing, man?
I am good. How are you today, sir?
I'm pretty good today. Trying to stay warm still here in Birmingham. Is it still pretty cold out there?
So chilly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I hear you. We finally up here. We finally got above zero. We got up to 23
hey,
today.
hey, that's
So
blistery. That's
right, might bust
all
out
right.
the shorts now. Now.
Yeah, go to the beach. Yeah.
Right. But yeah.
Um, yeah, let's we're both sitting here, we're just talking, we're both watching this Buffalo to Kansas City game. Uh a good one. Looks like another classic between the two.
Yeah. So
Buffalo up
far.
17-13 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
The winner of course will go to Baltimore next week in the
Baltimore.
AFC title game. First
Yeah.
AFC title game host for the Ravens. The first time it's in Baltimore since 73. Is that what they said on the broadcast? Something like that. Since the Colts hosted the AFC title game before they went on to Super Bowl 5.
That's
Um,
crazy to think that every time
mhm.
the y'all are on the road, anytime they jump into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's weird. I think it was the same script both times, if I remember. We hosted the first round game and then went on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Because in 2000 it was beat the
Yeah, you guys went.
Broncos first round and
Then
then
y'all went.
beat Tennessee on the road,
And you had to go to
and then
Oakland or whatever
yeah,
they were
Oakland,
with that.
yeah, Oakland, LA, wherever the hell they were then.
And that's
Um,
when Syracuse
yeah, just fell on them.
Bonsai dropped Rich Gann.
He did the big splash. That was before
Oh
that was illegal, and he could just let his
man,
weight fall on
could you
them.
imagine when he would get
Mm,
suspended for a couple weeks these days?
that's a lot of weight.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other one, the 2012-2013 season, I think it was
I know they went to Denver.
Indianapolis. Yeah, obviously went to Denver in the second round. That was a mile high miracle, and then
Yeah.
beat New England on the road in the title game. And I think we hosted the Colts the first
Hmm.
round. I
The first
honestly
round.
can't rember that. Yeah,
But I
but
mean, that was
anyway,
a classic
regardless.
run in 2012. Though. I
Hmm.
mean, to go on the road to be at that point
Hmm.
still a help, because that was Peyton Manning's like season when he was still Peyton Manning. You know, he kind of
Hmm.
fell off at the end of that Denver career. Still Peyton Manning, and for Flacco to go in there, that's why playoff Joe. that
Yeah,
that win, and the following week win and beat Brady. That's why. That's a wild run.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely outstanding run. Yeah, like and then but yeah, yesterday, of course, talking about that because yesterday the Ravens beat the Texans via
Hmm.
a dominant second half, a
That
tie
was.
ball game at halftime, and apparently Lamar went in and cussed the team out at halftime,
Mm,
and it worked because they came out
he
in
knew
second
what was
half and
needed.
smashed them. Great defensive effort. Houston's only touchdown was a punt return touchdown.
Right.
But yeah, Baltimore
Yeah.
looking like a number one seed should. Uh,
Oh yeah. Handle business. They could, just a little too much for the Texans. That defense in the second half, boy, they really
mhm.
shut down everything. Stroud,
Yeah, look like a rookie for one of the
look
few
like a
times
rookie.
this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, did what you
Um,
guys are supposed to do. So on the verge
um,
of.
I think more importantly, made the adjustments on offense too, because
Yeah.
after a successful first couple of drives, the Ravens got their 10 points fairly quickly. Um, D'Amico Ryan's he calls the defense for them. He
Hmm.
made an adjustment, started sending the blitz more, more than he has all year, and it worked for that second quarter. The
Right.
Ravens' offense is really struggling, and then they made the right adjustments at halftime because, like you said, they came out. He played an MVP type game. Um,
Hmm.
they got the run game going. A couple, got all kinds of receivers involved, and yeah, it was
Hmm.
was a good effort.
Yep.
Now now the Baltimore waits, yeah, either Patrick Mahomes in KC or Josh Allen in Buffalo. So it
It
should be a
should
really
be
good AFC title game.
great. Yeah, it should be a
Mhm.
classic AFC title game for
Uh,
sure.
the other number one seed, of course, the 49ers, they needed a
Oof.
late one to pull it out.
Yeah, they did.
Green Bay almost
Yeah,
knocked
they
off the
did.
2 seed and then the 1 seed in consecutive
And
weekends.
second week. Yeah, I mean, and that, I was kind of shocked in that game because I really thought then, they really spent their while beating Dallas and San Francisco was just going to run through them.
Hmm.
Going into that game, that's kind of, I think a lot of people thought that, and then the Packers
Hmm.
definitely, held their own there. Jordan Love. And that's one thing about the Packers. Like, at times you say, it was crazy, but the way that they develop quarterbacks is something else. And knowing when to draft them, or because Favre was still a solid quarterback. People thought it was crazy bringing in Aaron Rodgers, and then of course people thought it was crazy bringing in Jordan Love. But I mean, long term, it really worked. I mean, they developed all three well, and brought them in at the right time, and you know, they became starters at the right time in their career. So they've done
Hmm.
something well over the last almost 3 decades there with the quarterback play in Green Bay for sure.
Hmm.
Not
Uh,
forcing folks and
yeah, it's amazing. I was talking about that with some friends last night. How Green Bay has just they find quarterbacks, man. Um,
yeah.
Granted, Aaron Rodgers was kind of everyone. He was kind of a highly regarded prospect, and
Right.
but he had that big slide.
Hmm.
Um, but then Jordan Love, he had some momentum going into that draft. I remember, but it was a
Right.
shocking pick when they
Yeah.
picked him because everyone thought they'd get a receiver to give
Right.
Aaron Rodgers some help, and it
Hmm.
was controversial.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it
Obviously,
looks like
long
they got a
term.
man. Yeah, and maybe this is one of those learning experiences. Because yeah, that interception on their last drive was bad. As soon as he threw it, you kind of knew.
You knew it was
Uh,
over. Yeah.
yeah, you can't make that running,
Mm,
to your right, throwing back across your body into the middle of the
no.
field too. I mean, if
No.
the 49er who intercepted it didn't get it, there was a guy behind him that had a chance
Yeah.
too.
It
So,
wasn't. Yeah, that
um,
wouldn't. Yeah, they weren't getting another
yeah.
play.
And it's crazy because it looked like he had a little room to run too, at least get a couple
Hmm.
yards, get out of bounds. But
I think that's just that
uh,
inexperience in that type of situation
mhm.
more than
Yeah,
anything.
yep, exactly. Uh, but yeah, so we know that San Francisco and Baltimore, 2-1 seeds, will host the AFC title game. We know San
Hmm.
Francisco will host the Detroit Lions
So
today.
Detroit Lions.
Um, held off a feisty Tampa Bay team. Man, it's exciting time for the Lions. Their first NFC title game appearance since 1991. Um,
Yeah.
when
Two
they lost
playoff
to
games.
the
Redskins. At
Redskins.
that
Yeah,
point, the
Washington.
Redskins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Went
Mark
on to win the
Mark
Super Bowl.
yeah, the Mark Rippon led
Mark
team
Rippon.
that was a really good team when you look back on that
Fact.
that 91 Washington team was actually really good. But yeah, so
Yeah.
there's potential, all kinds of interesting matchups potentials. You could get a Baltimore San Fran rematch. Could get uh, maybe an old school, the Bills, maybe a Bills Lions for a first ever Super Bowl win guaranteed for somebody.
Huh.
Um,
Interesting.
a
For sure.
KC San Francisco rematch from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, there's lots of a KC
Lots of interest.
Detroit rematch from Week 1. That kind of
Week
win
one.
that
Yeah. And
surprising to
kind of,
put Detroit on the map. Yeah.
yeah. Kind of set up for their season. Kind of
Yeah.
going in the right direction.
Baltimore, of course, has played San Francisco. They've played Detroit as well. They beat the crap
Yeah.
out of both of them. So,
Both of them. Yeah. But the second time
um,
around, as we know, is always much harder.
hmm exactly. Yeah.
Finding
Um,
stuff yeah.
a Buffalo San Francisco matchup would be interesting too. That was kind of the old Tecmo Bowl uh,
Yeah.
match. I always wanted to see when I was younger that Joe Montana offense versus that Jim Kelly
Yeah.
no huddle Bills offense. Would have been
Oh yeah.
a really fun game.
Yeah. I mean,
But
really, I mean, no matter how you play it, I mean, it's gonna lead to a heck of a Super Bowl. Like,
hmm
it's not a matchup that you're like, damn, that sucks. You know, you kind of
yeah,
got, four fun teams will be in the championship games. So I mean, no matter
hmm
how it plays out, it'll definitely be an entertaining Super Bowl.
for sure. Um, but yeah, like you said, it should be entertaining Super Bowl, entertaining couple of conference title games
Oh,
next
for
week.
sure.
We're in for some exciting pro football here.
Most
As far
definitely.
as off the field NFL stuff, we haven't had any real
Haven't
movement
had.
on coaching
Yeah.
changes. Pierce was indeed named the full time coach by the Las Vegas
Yeah.
Raiders.
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce. The players seemed really in
Really
favor
like.
of that
Yeah.
move. Yeah. So
Yeah. So that's great.
yeah.
They I think that they learned from last time. If you go with the guy that
hmm
the people want, they didn't do that the last time with the special teams coach. So
Yeah.
they made the move this time, and hopefully it'll work out for him there. But he did a heck of a job because I mean they could have easily tanked the season, thrown it all away. Because
hmm
when they at that point when he was named the interim coach, I mean they were hapless. And they really took
hmm
it to a different level. Like, but,
Yeah. And last time we talked, you were in the middle of toward the end of watching your Cowboys lose to the Packers, as you
yeah,
mentioned. It does look like Mike McCarthy will stay. However, they do not expect him to get an extension.
yeah. Which is,
So,
so
I mean, I guess,
that's one of the situations is weird because almost like you pretty much know that this is the guy dude's last year, so that's always a weird thing because if things don't go right to start off the season, then when people look,
hmm
oh, are they gonna fire him now? Are they gonna wait? Like that brings a whole bunch of
yeah,
other drama. So who knows how
it,
that'll play out?
yeah, it definitely gives next season a basically like, hey, get us. I would say, what would you think he needs to do to keep his job next year? Make it to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, NFC title game. What?
I NFC title game minimum,
hmm
and then again, I think it really would depend on how that goes.
Yeah,
um,
like if it's
you
a
know,
if it's a close, hard fought
yeah, I
loss,
mean,
maybe he or yeah.
yeah, maybe if there may be an NFC title game and it's not anything embarrassing, then maybe you give them additional time. But I think anything less than that, I think they'll move on from them. Um, and the thing is we know he can win in the regular season, so I mean that's not the problem. So that's the toughest thing is because we'll probably have a successful regular season.
hmm
I mean, we'll probably win 11, 12 games as we've done the last 3 years with them. And it be matter what happens in January. So, we'll have a long time before we know whether, unless things implode out of nowhere, some craziness happens. But, well,
hmm
realistically, we're not going to know until January, just like, it has been the last couple of years. So, and I mean, I understand I'm not making that move because, realistically, is anybody going to make that difference? And, if, and I think the thing that really saved him, though, is just how much better Dak was outside of that playoff game. He had a much better 2023 than 22. He threw quite a few interceptions last year, really, got together. And realistically, for a lot of the season was in the MVP race. So, and, at least in that conversation there for a while. So, I think that really, really saved him there. But
hmm
I think I guess my biggest thing is, we just had the worst playoff loss basically in franchise history, and there's not gonna be any changes at all. It's like, oh,
Hmm.
okay. Because realistically, I mean, Dan's Quinn, is trying to get a head coaching job, but realistically, he's probably not going to get that call. So more than
Yeah.
likely, he comes back as a DC. So
Yeah, I would say I did see that they are. Oh no, sorry, that's the Eagles are looking like they're going to fire their defensive coordinator.
hmm
Um, yeah, it's interesting. Obviously it's a talented roster.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's. I'm sure there's a lot of disappointed Cowboy fans out there wanting a
oh yeah,
change, like you
for
said
sure.
after that loss. Let's. I guess you just see how that goes next year. Um,
Right.
hold on a second. My dog is out here raising hell at something. Let me make sure she
Something.
doesn't have some poor animal cornered. Hey, go on inside. What is it? Come on, inside. Go, 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 go. All right, we're back. Barking at something in between ours and the neighbor's house. So I'm sure a neighborhood cat or we got some possums love to climb up in the
Okay.
trees and she
Yeah.
she loves to give them hell and Lord help them if they ever fall in the yard one time because
Right.
uh, she's got a hold of one before and it was
hmm
luckily it survived but uh,
That's funny.
she does not like intruders to her yard.
That is
But yeah,
funny.
what were we talking about? NFL coaching.
Yeah.
Like we said, the Eagles will fire their DC, so that'll be another
hmm
defensive coordinator they're going through.
Right. But
So
my,
maybe Nick Sirianni keeps his job because there was a little bit
yeah,
of smoke that he might
he
not.
was gonna fire. But
Mhm.
something really weird happened in Philly because you don't go from 10-1 to being terrible. Like something crazy happened in the locker room
Mhm.
because I mean there's way too much talent there for them to have gotten that bad. They didn't forget how to play football. Like
Mhm.
something, and one day we'll find out. And in today's world, it's amazing that the info hasn't slipped out yet because just
Mhm.
because of all the social media. But something really strange happened in that locker room because, the last 2 months of the season, I mean, it was like, what is going on?
Mhm.
Like, at least
Yeah,
it was
the
really
way
weird.
the defense just fell off, the way
Yeah,
the rumblings that AJ Brown was very unhappy.
yeah.
And there's been all kinds of different rumors as to why that
hmm
is. Some say that he was angry that Devonte Smith started getting more targets, or I
hmm
don't know, whatever. Because again, it was just one of those weird things. Or they started 10-1, defense looked great. They shaky. They weren't playing great football, but they were winning.
They were winning
Um,
games, and they,
and usually, yeah, when you aren't playing well, but you're winning games, you're like, oh, that's a dangerous team because they're gonna once they put it together, they're really gonna.
right,
But
yeah. But they
AJ
not even
Brown
get the
had like what,
12.
like mm-hmm. No,
Not they
crazy, yeah.
couldn't get the 12 wins after starting 10-1. That's crazy.
Hmm.
And then
And
also the funny thing is they point, just people trolling point to the fact ever since that security guard got kicked off and couldn't be on the field anymore, that's when they started
uh,
losing their head of security.
oh, what's his name? Big Dom or something like that.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
something. Oh man, maybe
No,
that's it. Maybe he was their good luck charm.
maybe so,
Uh,
but one day we'll find out what happened in that locker room. But
hmm.
yeah, it's something pretty deep because too much talent for them to fall off as they did.
Hmm.
Like,
Absolutely, yeah. Too much, yeah. That's a stacked roster, and
mhm. You
and,
don't
and
go
not only
from a
that.
Super Bowl team to that quickly
Uh,
without
um,
something weird happening.
Yeah, it was just a weird season. And then that playoff loss Monday night too. They
It was
were
ugly.
lifeless.
Yeah,
Multiple times the announcers, talked about it during the game about how just kind of uninterested Philly looked in
they were
playing the
just kind of
game.
there because they had to be there.
Yeah, very
If
flat.
they could have opted out, I think they may have. Like there was no
Mhm,
interest of being there at all. Like they were dead.
yeah,
Like
it might have been a real blessing for them that they didn't play that game in front of the home crowd because, woo,
oh
that Philly
boy,
crowd.
yeah, the Philly crowd, boy, that would have been brutal.
hmm Um, but yeah, they're out there, and of course, we haven't had any other fillings beside Las Vegas.
Hmm.
Atlanta has talked to Bill Belichick twice. It looks like they're going to
Twice.
talk to
Oh,
Jim Harbaugh a
Harbaugh.
second time.
He's
Um,
already talked with the
Carol,
Chargers. We know
hmm uh, and you would think maybe that's if he wants to jump back into the pros. I think the Chargers
that's
roster
gotta be
seems to be the perfect
the
situation.
place to go.
hmm
And then also, I mean, just with, and you'd have to think as well. I mean, there's less pressure there just because of the history. I think they would give
hmm
Jim Harbaugh some time. They're not gonna just. I would think that they would, because I mean, they have a talented roster, but overall, I mean, the history of the Chargers. I mean, it's been
hmm
like if you're a Chargers fan, like that's been some painful years.
hmm
Like it's just been, uh,
Just to
you
have Philip Rivers for so long, and
yeah,
well, really, if
LaDainian
you look even
Tomlinson for so long,
going back, you even had a young Drew Brees because they drafted Drew
and
Brees.
yeah, they did draft Drew
Uh,
Brees.
he had him till he
Hmm.
had a shoulder injury, and then Philip
Right,
Rivers comes in,
yeah,
um, and he's there for ever and a day, and then you go from him to Justin Herbert, really,
right,
and
and
to have
quite the
all those
QB
guys.
run. Yeah.
Yeah, the LaDainian, like you mentioned, Antonio Gates, one of the better tight ends ever.
Yeah.
This a great duo receiver duo, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. There's been
Hmm.
no shortage of talent on that team,
Yeah.
um, and just
And it's
always
been,
falling short. hmm
yeah.
I don't even know if they've made a ASC title game in that during that time. Honestly,
No,
um,
because I
struggling to
remember the
think now.
last time that they were really good. I remember LaDainian Tomlinson, and they lost to the Patriots. But yeah, I think that was a division round, and it was like
Yeah, yeah. I
oh
remember
05, oh,
they beat.
oh 04,
Yeah,
oh 05.
they beat Lamar in his rookie season in the first round, the wild card
Yeah.
round, but I'm pretty sure they lost the next week in the divisional. Couldn't
Hmm.
tell you
Yeah.
who. Just one of those
Yeah.
things. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and
Because
then
I
of course
remember
then.
for most of Philip Rivers' career, it seemed like he was always in the game.
Mhm.
And then he would throw a late pick, and then it would go to 60 minutes on CBS. That seemed to always be the
Yep. He threw the pick. All right.
on the 60
Um,
minutes. See you next week.
yeah. Yeah. But and then of course like we said, the Falcons look to be. It seems that Harbaugh and Belichick are going to Atlanta and Los Angeles in either or some capacity.
Yeah. So you would think,
Mhm.
if neither team went with either, I'd be shocked. And like, it just seems like it just,
Mhm.
I mean, just with the amount of interviews, attention, and that, there's a lot of talent in Atlanta if you get the QB situation right.
Mm.
I mean, they have Bijan Robinson. Of course, the tight end that the Falcons forgot is even on the team. I don't understand that at all still. I mean, there's some young talent on that Falcons team. If you can put it all together, I mean, they could be good. And still, the division isn't strong. Like, I mean, you could easily win that
Mhm.
division if you're playing good football, as
Yeah.
as it seems. So,
Mhm. Yeah. And you talk about Atlanta, they just need a quarterback.
yeah,
Um, because they got a stack. That's a lot of weapons on that. A lot of young weapons in that
they
offense.
do. They have a
Who,
lot.
whoever they get in, I'm sure that the fantasy owners across the land are just praying that they unlock Kyle Pitt's potential.
Yes, because
Um,
what I still don't understand, like, how does he not
mm-mm,
get used? Like it's, I mean, his rookie year he got used, and since
mhm,
then it hasn't been used. We know how good he is. We saw him in Florida. I mean, he has the
mhm,
potential to be, just like Kansas City uses Kelsey. Just
mhm.
very similar fashion. I mean, he's going to be, against safeties and linebackers. He's going to eat on that all day. Like, give the man the
Yeah,
ball.
he's got wide receiver skill set and a tight end's
Yeah,
body. He's
exactly.
a mismatch everywhere on the field. Yeah, he's too fast for linebackers and most safeties, and
Yeah,
he's too big for cornerbacks.
right. Yeah, throw the
It's
ball up, let him go.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, do the like Isaiah Likely last night. The
hmm
Ravens game. That first pass Lamar threw to him in the end zone was incomplete, almost picked off, and you saw
hmm
he made a little message like, "Hey, throw it up top." And later in the game,
Yeah,
sure enough, that's what Lamar did, and he just
yeah,
went up and over.
exactly.
Uh,
Kyle Pitts will definitely bring that if he's
exactly.
given the
Yeah.
opportunity to do so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have
Give
to.
him.
You moved up in the draft to get him. Use that man.
Mhm.
Like I don't understand. Like you literally picked him at what six in the draft that year. A tight end at
Mhm.
six rarely happens. So obviously the intention was to use him to make him a
Yeah.
cornerstone of your franchise. And why they haven't, nobody knows. I don't
And
think.
if you have some issue with him that you're not letting
Move
out in
him.
public, yeah,
Somebody will
trade him.
go get some
You can
value
get
back.
yourself. You could probably get a first round pick for him still, if not
Yeah.
at least a
I
second, and
mean,
then multiple picks. Maybe a
he's still a
second,
young
like a
guy. He's
exactly.
still young. I mean, he's healthy. He hasn't been
Hmm.
hurt. Like someone will be thrilled to get a Kyle Pitts on
Hmm.
their team.
Yeah, the NFL is a second and third chance league, and
Yeah, for sure.
as long as you're not a quarterback, I say quarterbacks is a little different. Sometimes
Yeah,
they
sometimes depends on who you are.
get eaten alive,
But
but yeah, so they're
yeah,
still out there. Um, and just pairing him with Bijan Robinson, Drake London, yeah, there's so much
yeah, so much
talent on
talent.
that offense.
Yeah,
Um, New Orleans, or excuse me, Carolina, another team looking for a coach. As an Alabama Bryce Young fan, we just pray that it's an offensive coach that can. Either way, they
yeah,
need to get some offensive linemen and some skill players in there.
yeah, they do. But
That's
really, I mean,
that's more of a personnel thing. Yeah.
the biggest problem really seems to be that owner. I mean, he seems
Hmm.
ridiculous. Just a
Yeah.
time bomb. Always ready to get upset at something. It's like, dude, like, chill out. Like,
Hmm.
like, obviously you're not, like, you gotta like, as an owner, you put football guys in place to make football move.
Hmm.
Right? But things happen. Obviously, when you bought the team, you knew it wasn't in a good spot. You have to have patience and allow people to step in and make the necessary changes in order to get where you want to be. It's not an
Hmm.
overnight project in Carolina. Like, like you knew that when you bought the team. Like, why are you acting like this? Like, chill.
Yeah. Yeah. David Tepper, is probably among the worst owners in the league.
Yeah,
But we
because
also have
he's not even a funny owner. Like,
no. Yeah.
At least like Jerry will give you a great quote and everyone wants to
Hmm.
interview him. This dude is just ridiculous.
This dude's he's just an asshole throwing drinks at
Yeah,
people. Yeah.
yeah. Just like, come on, bro.
Uh, yeah. Yeah. Don't throw drinks.
Yeah,
Easy. It's an
yeah,
easy thing to do. Of course, the
yeah.
Seahawks out there looking for a coach. Um,
hmm
we'll see there. The Titans, of course, after the weird firing of Mike Vrabel, that's another coach. We talk about whoever
Yeah.
doesn't get
Well,
Belichick or
anybody,
Harbaugh. Mike Vrabel's
oh,
right there too.
right there. Yeah, I definitely that's the one I
Mhm.
definitely, I'm not a fan of always, recycling the same names, but that's one I definitely give a second chance to because for the most part, I mean, the Titans are the Titans, and he made the Titans kind of what they are. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, he's had some success. I mean, I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't know who that they really thought was going to come in and be better than him. But we'll see that as well. So, Cause
That's the
I,
thing. And they've made some front office decisions that are weird. The AJ Brown trade, throwing that big contract, that Julio Jones.
yeah, DeAndre
Yeah,
Hopkins really doesn't fit their offensive scheme at all. Like, I don't know.
no, they're potentially letting Derrick Henry go, and
Yeah,
um,
I mean, he gave
it
his
seems
goodbye
like it.
speech
Yeah, and there's been rumors that like, oh, he could resign, but yeah, he's giving goodbye speeches at the game.
after the last game of the
Um,
season. Yeah,
yeah, it's weird. Some weird situation going on in Nashville too, and then of course there's the Commanders. Um, who knows? That's they have a lot of they're another franchise that needs a quarterback. They probably need a lot. That's probably another project there.
but at the same time, though,
Mm-hmm.
that may be a better. That might actually not be a bad spot to go because it's a new owner, so you're not dealing
Mm-hmm.
with the same BS that has been around. Uh, you know, um, so you have new owners, and really overall, a proud franchise. I mean, they've had plenty of history over it's just been ugly the last 10 years or so. It just hasn't been what they really haven't been where they wanted to be. But I mean, there's potential there. But yeah, definitely want to get a quarterback because they're one that I don't know. They just have had game managers and no one that uh, you believe can take it to that next level over the last couple of seasons.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so aside from the playoffs, a lot of
Hmm.
big things happening in the NFL.
A lot of
Um,
moves
I'd
soon to
imagine
be
this
made.
week. Yeah, I was about to say. I'd imagine this week, a few of them will be made,
Hmm.
unless maybe there's some coordinators. I know a lot of
Yeah.
talk about Ravens
So,
offensive and defensive coordinator Todd Monken and Mike McDonald.
hmm
A lot of talk
yeah,
about
I was
them.
thinking. Yeah, I
Um,
was thinking watching the game yesterday, McDonald. I would think that he'd be a hot commodity out there with it. This
yeah,
turnaround of that Ravens defense this year has been
it's
amazing.
crazy.
Like,
And then there's not only that. I'm sure there's some position coaches being talked about, but getting upgrades to
hmm
coordinator roles.
oh yeah,
Yeah, this could be one of those like the Ravens really need to win it this year because their staff might be picked apart this all season.
yeah, yeah.
Of course, I saw a funny video today, a little underground Ravens fans movement, and it was like to all these people thinking about hiring Mike McDonald. How could you? You would hire this man after what he did? That's disgusting, and just basically trying to create these fake rumors so
Fake
that
rumors.
nobody
That's
takes him out of
hilarious.
Baltimore.
That's
um,
great.
it is, yeah. Um, but yeah, moving on. That's pretty good in NFL talk. I think
That's
we,
funny stuff.
like I said, we're
Yeah.
watching this. KC's now got a 2017 lead over Buffalo. We know San Fran, Detroit next week, and Baltimore hosting the winner of
hmm
this game. So, like we said, it's just going to be a fun weekend of
Oh,
football
heck
next
yeah,
Sunday.
for sure.
Um, moving to our college game, some
Wow,
off-field stuff. Um,
boy, it
uh,
was a very up and down week in Tuscaloosa. Let me tell you.
it was
Yeah,
indeed.
every day was something, right?
Kalen DeBoer rounding out his staff. We got Kane
Yeah.
Womack, the USA, the South Alabama head coach, will come on to be our
That's a
defensive
defense.
coordinator.
Hmm.
Uh, and then later in the week, we learned it's actually going to be a
One,
co-defensive coordinator
yeah,
role
with the
because
guy from
we took Buffalo's head coach Maurice Linguist.
hmm
And then later in the week, they added to the staff his name. I can't find right now a story on it,
the
but
guy from Wisconsin.
yeah, the defensive backs coach from Wisconsin who worked
Hmm.
on the Cincinnati staff a few years ago when they had the number one ranked pass defense. We're
Yeah.
bringing him on as a DB's coach. So the
Recruiting, I
defensive
think, as
staff,
well.
yeah, big recruiter too. So the defensive staff taking shape now. Kalen DeBoer's staff in general taking shape.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of doom and gloom from Alabama fans this week because uh, Kalen Downs. He is now an Ohio
hmm
State Buckeye. Julian
hmm
Sayin out of nowhere decommitted from the Tide, and now he is an
hmm
Ohio State Buckeye.
hmm
Um,
They've been spending a lot of money in Columbus.
Our left tackle, Kalen Proctor, goes to where all football linemen would love to go, Iowa. He is from Iowa,
Yeah.
so that's why. Big part of that
And
decision.
that's where he
Uh,
was originally committed to.
An
And
interesting
uh,
video he released today, though, where he was being
yeah.
talked to, somebody talking to him at a basketball game, I believe is where he was,
At the Iowa game yesterday. Yeah.
and he mentioned that they had actually contacted him during the middle of the season, which is a
Like,
no
bro.
no. Um,
Yeah. Like, bro.
so
He said,
if
yeah, we still believe in you. What? What's going on here?
I was
So
about to
you were
say, I
tapping
wonder
in?
if
Is that?
Greg Byrne might have been paying attention to that, and might call the NCAA office and be like, "Hey guys,"
Yeah. Like,
but
why? Oh, yeah.
coming in though, Alabama gets a couple of Washington transfers as expected.
hmm
Former four-star QB Austin Mack, familiar with Kalen
hmm
DeBoer's system, comes. So that replaces Sane, or maybe we knew Sane was out. The reason he went to Ohio State, Julian Sane, is because they have hired Bill O'Brien as their offensive coordinator, and he apparently was a big in the recruitment of Sane coming to
uh,
Alabama.
uh,
Yes,
interesting.
you,
And
you're
I've
yeah.
heard though,
Mhm.
man, but it's been a lot with that because with Julian, I know a lot of Alabama fans were upset with that. With we got Mac, and then next morning Julian. And there's a lot of folks that say that basically, and who knows how true it is, that DeBoer and them basically didn't think Julian fit what they want to do, didn't have what they're looking for. I don't know how you do that with him being the best quarterback in the thing, but
Yeah.
obviously they believed in their guy to bring him in, and he was happy to come to Tuscaloosa before knowing himself that Julian was moving on. But
hmm
I'd have to think that. Uh, in some way, the board had to have known that Julian was thinking about leaving because I don't think you just bring Mac in if you truly believe that he was going to be the future of the Alabama program. I don't know.
No, absolutely. I think with a lot of these transfers, a lot of people know more ahead of time, so they're not taken
hmm
off, so shocked
Yeah,
by it. Um, yeah.
yeah. It's
So
more
with
shocking
saying,
for the fans than
hmm
of course, than the coaching. I think a lot of people in
yeah,
the
because
program kind of knew what was coming, but
hmm yeah, DeBoer and his guys are in there. They're talking to these guys. They know,
yeah,
they're talking to the old staff. A
yeah,
little bit. Saban's still there. He's probably giving them like, hey, yeah,
yeah,
this guy's probably
yeah,
wants to go with O'Brien now. Which, yeah, your laugh was the same response I had.
yeah.
Um, a lot of people laughing at Bill O'Brien. A lot of Ohio State fans online being like, "Oh, well, look at his defensive rankings," and then a lot of Alabama
Yeah,
fans being like, "You should
it's
wait till the games happen. Like, wait till."
yeah, yeah, because
So,
I saw like for all of a sudden like some weird I get all type of like things on my timeline. Like I saw some
mhm,
bug nuts group talking about Bill O'Brien. Look at his stats. He averages over 41 points a game in Alabama. Let's take it. Good luck with that, guys. Good luck
mhm,
with that. When the game's on the line, you're gonna be pissed off in the red zone.
mhm.
Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of head scratching moments when for important calls.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, so yeah, that we'll just let them have that fun. This it's
Yeah.
like when Ole Miss fans got excited they were taking Pete Golden from us, and Alabama
Yeah,
fans
so
were
good
like,
luck.
"Okay, yeah, have fun with that."
You have them, and we'll
hmm
happily send Pete to you.
Yeah,
Um,
I,
but
I will.
really, no, I'm sorry. But I was gonna say on the Ohio State side of things, though, Ryan Day definitely feeling the pressure because he's bringing in a lot of big names. I mean, from
hmm
the Ole Miss running back Judkins, getting Caleb Downs, getting Julian, like. Hey, it's pressure. If things don't work out this year, and let's say they lose to Michigan again, or man, he might definitely be on the way out. I know that pressure is definitely building, and obviously he felt it with the additions that he's made this offseason.
hmm
Man, a lot of talent added for sure.
Yeah. Um. And for Julian saying maybe the I will say this, we do have to give Bill O'Brien some credit. Bryce Young won a Heisman Trophy under
He
him.
did.
That's of course, a lot has been made about how Bill O'Brien has no championships with 8 years working under Bill Belichick and Nick Saban.
And it's yeah.
Yeah, that's your response. But going back to saying Bill O'Brien's offense is pretty much, hey, Bryce, run around and do something cool. And so if Julian Sayan's got improvisational skills and, he can make stuff happen like that, then yeah, he might have success in
Yeah.
that offense. Ohio State fans, again, you will be driven crazy. But Julian Sayan might
Hmm.
actually have some impressive stats. Um,
Yeah.
but of course, this isn't fantasy. You need more than stats to win
You need to
championships.
finish the
Mm-hmm.
game when the game's on the line,
Mm-hmm.
and you trust in Bill O'Brien's play calling,
Mm-hmm.
man. And then also just his lack of creativity was mind
Mm-hmm.
blowing in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, frustrating.
I mean,
Not getting,
you had Jameer
get,
Gibbs.
and he got
We saw
not
what he
near
did
enough
today.
touches. Yeah.
I
Um,
mean, we saw what he did today. Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
don't.
think he's the one why,
So,
because so many people were surprised that the Lions took Gibbs so high. And a lot of Alabama
hmm
fans, and I'm sure Georgia Tech fans too, where he played for 3 seasons, were
they're like,
like, no, this guy's legit
he's the
talent. Bill
real
O'Brien
deal.
just didn't use him right.
No, I mean,
And you
he
see
was
what.
a star
Uh
before he came to Tuscaloosa.
hmm
He wasn't as
And he
well known because he was at Georgia Tech, but he was a star. He had a
no.
highlight reel at Georgia
Mhm.
Tech.
Yeah, and he is a full five tool back. He can,
hmm
he's not a great power back, but he hand him the ball off in a power formation. He can find a hole.
Oh yeah.
He's a great receiving back.
hmm He's
And
today's version of Marshall Falk.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he is a poor man's Marshall Falk, but with the talent,
Yeah,
potential, and the right offense to actually have a Marshall Falk type career.
yeah. Because I think he's actually faster, but
Yeah, he might have more top end speed than Marshall did. Marshall was a shifty guy.
yeah, he was a shifty guy.
Mhm.
Maybe a little more powerful, but
Yeah, maybe
in
maybe a little bit
in
better power
today's
running.
game, he that's probably the best comparison I could think of. But
Hmm But yeah, also coming in back to Alabama, we got the center from Washington,
hmm
Parker Brailsford, which is huge.
hmm
He is a
huge.
redshirt freshman. Started 15 games this year.
Hmm
Two at right guard, then switched to center for the rest of them. All Pac-12
Yep.
second team. He's got 3 years left of eligibility.
And he knows
That's a
how to
big,
hike the ball.
yeah, exactly. Knows how to snap it. Big pickup for Alabama. You hope they can also pull in Jabbar Muhammad, the cornerback.
Yeah.
Um, would be huge for
Looks like
really
we just
thin. Hmm
it looks like we just pulled their wide receiver tonight as well.
Oh, really? Um,
Yeah. What option? The name slips me right now. He had about 400 and some yards in that offense last season
mhm,
there. Bernard.
mhm.
I can't think of it,
Um,
but yeah. So
yeah,
just
and they have
yeah. But
another
if we can get,
freshman. Yeah, they have another freshman running or lineman too that I'm sure Bama
mm-hmm.
fans would like to get.
Yeah, the wide receiver Bernard had about 425. I think he's like the third or fourth option last year. So, I mean,
Hmm
obviously he could definitely shine in Tuscaloosa. Yeah, but you were saying, yeah, if we get Muhammad, I mean, he
hmm
started his career at Oklahoma State, but really, I mean, he took it to another level this past year in Washington.
hmm
Every week he was going up against the number one and held his own in a lot of situations there.
hmm
Especially you saw, a lot of people nationally probably didn't really know him until that Sugar Bowl, but I mean, he held his own against the Texas wide receivers.
hmm
So I mean, that would be huge if we're able to get him. But I know he went to Texas, and he of course was in Tuscaloosa, and then of course I think he's going to Oregon before he makes his final decision. So we'll see how it plays out there. But hopefully he had a good enough relationship with Coach DeBoer and his staff that he can really consider coming. to Tuscaloosa because yeah, our secondary just with the amount that we lost to the draft and transfer, yeah, we definitely would be a much very welcome in Tuscaloosa for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, just the
absolutely.
experience he has. Because we
Um,
have a lot of young talent, but a lot of unproven talent
yeah, a
right
very
now.
young outside of Malachi Moore. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of inexperienced youth in that
Hmm.
secondary now.
Yeah. All right.
Um, I guess moving on, that's pretty much trying to think about anything else maybe from the college ranks this week. Not much. Anything
You
you
know,
think we missed? Um,
I was shocked that the quarterback at Arizona staying at Arizona. You know,
mm,
with
yeah.
that coaching change, it came across yesterday at some point that he and the wide receiver or running back are staying at Arizona. So I mean, kudos to those guys. You know, I'm sure as tough as been for Wildcat fans as of late losing their coach who resurrected the program. I mean, to at least be able to keep your Heisman potential quarterback, I mean, that's huge for the new coaching staff for sure.
hmm Um, yeah, they did get Washington had I believe a quarterback recruit follow
Hmm.
Jed Fish up there. Yeah, Demond Williams Jr. looks like a
Hmm.
um, so he was signed or committed at least in this class, but now he will follow him to Washington. Of course, Washington had Will Rogers, and then he went back into the portal after DeBoer left. So that'd be interesting. He's one of the bigger, probably the biggest names still in the portal. Um, as far as that goes, that's still interesting to see where he might end up.
Hmm.
Um,
I mean, he might, you know, with the coaching staff coming in, he might
mhm.
just stay there. Maybe he's just being who was brought to Washington. Who knows?
Exactly. Maybe just kind of be a 1 year starter while that freshman either red shirts or just,
Hmm.
backs him up. So we'll see. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
interesting thing. But moving on, I guess. Let's see. We'll stay in a college game, but we'll move to Alabama hoops. Midweek, good win over Missouri.
Great one.
Um, yeah, with a
It's real
little
chippy.
a little chippy, a little controversy with
Mhm.
Coach Oates putting his hand on a
I'm a
player, a
player.
Missouri player that
Yeah.
was in the Alabama huddle and kind of pushed him. And then
Right.
yesterday they went on the road to Knoxville and
Oof.
wasn't good.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
top 10 Tennessee team, a big win. Just sloppy. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't even know how many turnovers they had in the end, but Alabama just
22.
looked 22 turnovers. Looked
22 turnovers. Yeah. And it,
extremely sloppy. Yeah.
yeah. And it just was over from the get go. I mean, after that
hmm
original, they went up 16-6 real quick. And after that, it
hmm
was just kind of, that was the end of the day. Like it was, everything
Yeah.
that could have went wrong, and we never rebounded. You know, we were known for having a good second half push through the
hmm
start of this SEC season, and it wasn't any of that. Outside of Spears 22, I mean, no one was even in double digits beside him.
hmm
Tennessee defense shut down everybody. I think we were 19% from the 22 turnovers and 19% from the 3 point. Yeah, I mean that's gonna kill us every time, especially
Yeah.
against a team like Tennessee on the road. Like, yeah,
Yeah. With that defense too, you don't need to give Tennessee's
no,
defense any help. And
anything. Yeah, you pretty much have to play a perfect game
hmm
in Thompson Bowling Arena to win on the road there. Like we would have had to have basically the energy that we saw through the especially in the second half against Missouri with Spears scoring his 22, other people, giving up 12, 14 points to even make it a
hmm
game. And yeah,
yeah.
we completely fumbled that one. I mean, it was just was a you almost want to throw it away because I mean everything was just so off. I mean I don't know what you
Hmm.
really gained from looking at that tape. I mean it was just a terrible game. Like, but you know we big game coming up Wednesday.
Hmm.
Auburn coming to town. You know, and you know you would hope the crowd will be ready to go. You know, hopefully the energy will be much different. But I mean, through the first four games of the SEC season, the energy was great from the team. You know, the
Hmm.
defensive energy was good. You know, really did yesterday, but I would think you know they'll be ready to go again Wednesday, and you know that would be a huge way to end the month of January.
Yeah, you hope that, like you said, this is just one of those games where you just kind of don't even look at the tape. You're just like, all right, hey, that was a shit game, guys. Forget about it
Yeah,
and let's play like we know how to
yeah,
play.
right,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, you mentioned Auburn coming to town this Wednesday, huge one. Um,
But they've
they'll
been
see
hot.
they'll see Tennessee again.
Yeah, in
l-
March.
yeah, in March, late in the regular season. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, turn your focus to Auburn. Hand them their first SEC loss. Hopefully,
Yeah,
they're coming
they
off.
come in
They're coming in, like you said, hot. They a bunch of blowout wins so
11
far.
wins in a row. Yeah, they
Hmm.
slaughtered Ole Miss.
Hmm.
Slaughtered Ole Miss Saturday. So,
Yeah, slaughtered Ole Miss. A big win over Vanderbilt before that. A big win over LSU and A&M. But they
yeah,
really haven't played a close game in the SEC.
no, they
Um,
haven't. They've
Only
looked
lost
good,
two games. They lost at Appalachian State, lost to
which is
Baylor
a
to
weird
begin the
loss.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is weird. Football would make more sense. But yeah, this is a good Auburn team. Um,
They are a good
and
team.
you're lucky you're at home. So hopefully,
Yeah, take advantage of the crowd. And the energy
mhm,
be crazy because I mean, of course, a lot of people there. Even you know, not even the biggest basketball fans will be there because it's the you know we the Iron Bowl
mhm.
trophy, and of course
Yep,
Nick Saban will be there. So man, it'll be a
yeah,
good atmosphere. Hopefully the team feeds off that energy and
hmm,
gets off to a hot start and comes out with that win. It's much needed.
yeah. Um, let's see elsewhere. Not nearly as crazy a week in college hoops as it was
No.
last week. A couple upsets, but nothing huge. West Virginia, I guess the
Hmm.
biggest one, upset
Beat
Kansas.
Kansas.
Of course, West Virginia is that kind of place. No matter the
Yeah.
sport, it seems like when you go to
Morgantown.
Morgantown, you
Yeah,
better watch
watch
out.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Texas's head coach, what's his face, uh, Rodney
So
Terry
he's upset. Yeah.
had a weird rant after they
And when they
um
lost to UCF
yeah
midweek, the
they
horns down rant.
yeah the horns down rant about UCF doing and the horns down in the line. And oh,
Hmm.
I mentioned this because they're coming to the SEC, and all week the talk about that online was basically like,
Hmm.
oh, you guys aren't ready for SEC culture if you get this
No,
upset about your little hand signal.
because
Because
the
the SEC is
trolling in
not
the
going to, they're
SEC.
not,
No,
yeah, they're not going to make the hands down thing unsportsmanlike penalty. Uh,
no.
the horns down, they're going to players. And now when you do stuff like this, so you know what's going to happen in
Oh,
every
you enhanced
arena
it.
that you visit next week. Yeah. You're going to have the
You've
whole crowd. They're going
enhanced
to
it.
have signs. They're going to have giant horns down, flags. Yeah, you did yourself no
Because
favors there.
yeah, especially, I mean, you're on your way out of the Big 12. Everybody who's staying in the Big 12 would love to beat you on the way out. Yeah, you definitely did no favors for your team. And yeah, coming to the SEC, boy, the trolling is different. Like
Hmm.
they will, like yeah, they haven't seen anything yet if they thought that was bad. Like yikes.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I just kind of want to mention that. I thought that was pretty
Yeah,
funny. Like, yeah,
hilarious.
you guys better get a little thicker skin there. Um,
Yeah, you might want to kept that to yourself.
yeah, that's not doing yourself a favor there.
Because at the end of the
Um,
day, you know how you stop that horns down? You win the game.
hmm yeah. You win the game and you don't care. Well, yeah, that's how
Yeah.
you shut them up, man.
Yep.
because I guarantee it, you're not as bothered by all the horns downs. Yeah, like you said, when you're winning the game, if you're collecting
Exactly.
trophies and rings,
Yeah. That doesn't matter to you at all. So,
yeah. NBA. I don't think any huge news from this past week. Um, Pascal Siakam is now a Pacer.
pace. Yeah.
Interesting three-team trade between them, Toronto, and New Orleans kind of randomly in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Former Alabama guard Kyra Lewis Jr. is in Toronto as well. I think New Orleans is basically in there as a cash luxury tax
Mm-hmm.
thing, getting under
Yeah.
there. But yeah, Indiana gets Pascal Siakam, a big player for them, a future second round pick. Toronto in return gets Bruce Brown, Kyra Lewis, Jordan Noora, two 2024 first round picks. So
Yeah. I got
that'll be
all.
interesting. And then a 2026 first rounder.
They got quite the haul for Pascal Siakam. I mean, he's a good player, but man, oof, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I guess they're just going completely. I guess this is a complete rebuild in Toronto now.
Yeah. Looks like they're resetting there. Um,
This is, it's a decent run there. They had
yeah,
a good run.
it's interesting trade. I thought Indiana was kind of a weird team
Yes.
for Siakam to go to, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, we'll see how it works for them.
Right.
The East can, obviously Boston's a big bad in there, and then Phillies, is always you have to go through them at some point, and then
Mm-hmm.
Miami come playoff time. But
Yeah, they're
I,
different too.
I
Yeah.
I think the East is there to be had. Oh, Buffalo faking a punt, and it's not working.
Oof.
Ooh, interesting. So KC with a
Ooh.
3-point lead will get the
Wow.
ball in pretty
Oof.
solid territory. That was on their like own 30 or
Mm.
so. That's an
Oh
interesting
wow.
decision right there.
Jeez.
I don't know if they saw something that didn't work out though.
Mm.
That could be potentially
That could be
a
yeah,
game
take it.
turner right there. Yeah,
Mhm. Wow.
KC could go up 10 here and go up 2 scores.
Yeah, that's wow. We'll see how
Hmm.
this plays out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Other than that, NBA is just humming along.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really don't have anything else in my notes from the world of sports. Looking at everything, anything we missed you want to talk about?
Well, not really. Everything's kind of, we're just in for a great. Oh wow.
Yep, down first and goal for KC now.
Like what are you? Like wow, that's a great. That's a great. I don't know. That might have. I don't know. It's way too early in the game to be doing stuff like that.
Yeah, there's still 12 some minutes left in
Yeah, we're only
the
down
game.
3.
Yeah, unless you just feel
Jeez.
like your defense absolutely cannot stop Kansas City, but then why do you want to give them a very
Even
short field?
shorter, the chance of a very short field. I
Yeah,
don't
because
know. Some of
now
the
they're first.
this first and goal from the 2.
Yep, and here goes. Oh,
Mm,
is that a fumble out of bounds there, or is
oh
he down?
wow.
No, they're going to say he was down at the one. It
Okay.
looks like,
Oof.
but
Wow.
I'm sure that could get challenged here. Um,
Yeah.
and it looks like a couple of Bills players
Oh
calling for the coach to
man.
challenge
You
it.
did definitely have to look at it because he rolls over on him.
Ooh, that's close.
Oh, whoa! You definitely have to take a look at it. Yikes!
Yeah, that's interesting. That could be a big break for
Oh,
Buffalo because
that could.
that ball was fumbled out of the end zone, so they'd
Oh
get the
man.
ball. Mm,
And I don't know. That's another rule that I think is really weird in the NFL.
mm-hmm.
The touchback rule, but ooh, it's so close.
Yeah. Um,
Is
I guess
it-
the only other sports thing I have of note happened today. Actually, the First amateur to win in 33 years on the PGA Tour won today, Nick Dunlap. And I say this is notable because he is a sophomore at Alabama. So
Yeah, I saw that.
roll tide,
Well,
Nick.
tied to that man.
First amateur
Heck of
winner on the tour
performance.
since a guy named Phil Mickelson won the Tucson
Oh,
Open in '91.
that's quite the company.
Yeah, it's a good list to
Wow.
be on. So good for you, Nick. Roll tide. Uh, I wonder how that works with amateurism and the prize money there.
Yeah. Huh.
So, you, so you put it in a little account. Maybe you can't have this money until you're
But in
pro.
today's world, who
I was
knows
about to
how it
say with
works now?
NIL, who knows how that works? Yeah,
Who knows how that works in today's world?
nobody knows. We
But
just know that Ohio State has spent a lot of money.
they have, yeah, they
um,
definitely spent a lot of
no,
money,
yeah,
got a
but
lot
Sam,
of talent. Let's see how it plays out.
I'm actually
Boy,
seeing that Nick Dunlap is in the portal and he will be going to Ohio State. No,
let's go to Ohio State
yeah,
Buckeye, the
yeah,
golf team. Hmm.
the golf team. Yeah, but no, yeah, I think that should do it for us this week. What's been done up real good for you, Greg?
Done up for me really good. My daughter went to a competition yesterday. It's an academic kind of academic team contest they go to. She's one of the few freshmen out there and held her own in the team in the uh, in the team competition where they get 12 crazy questions that they answered, and the team got like 9 or 10. And after her round, they were actually leading the competition, and the team after them kind of let them down. They lost by one, but I was proud of her efforts. Her, being a freshman and really her first time in this type of competitions. I think this is like her second or third time doing it. So I was pretty impressed. I mean, I couldn't tell you any of those questions, any of those answers. I was like, what are we even talking about right now? But it was pretty cool to see. How about you?
I guess I'll give mine this week too. It was nice for the Ravens to win a big playoff game,
Oh
for
yeah,
Lamar to get a big playoff win.
yeah, for sure.
I'm sure the Lamar haters will find a way to move the goalpost this
Oh
week.
yeah, oh yeah,
Um, you know, I'm sure, especially with considering that he'll either face Josh Allen or um,
oh yeah.
Pat Mahomes. It'll be like, oh well, can he
Mhm.
beat one of these quarterbacks? And it's like, all right, well,
Oh
sure.
wow,
Uh, they
oh
ruled it a
wow,
fumble.
yeah,
Oh wow,
that's bad.
a
Yeah,
huge break for the Bills. Let's see here. Here it
wow,
is. Oh yeah, he punched out
wow,
just a second before he hits the
oh
ground.
wow,
Oh wow. So
that is crazy.
great play by there. Who was that on Buffalo's defense? That Douglas that made that play?
I
I
believe
can't
so.
see. 2021. Yeah. So
21.
that is
That's
huge. So
huge.
after
That is,
the questionable, really just straight up bad fake
saved,
punt call.
saved right there. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
was like can't see it was rolling to the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So that gives the Bills new life, down 12 minutes ago. Well, that first down play didn't work, but
Yeah. So 12 minutes to go, and much different situation to look because you're going down 10 to Kansas City. That's not where you want to be,
Mm. Poyer, that's
especially
the
in the
name of the
playoff.
player that knocked it
Boy,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
30
Yeah, they were the,
takeaways this season.
but say, yeah, most in the NFL, they were the leading takeaway defense. So doing their job. But
Bend but
yeah,
don't break type of defense.
yeah. sh- Hey, sometimes that's all you need in the modern game.
That's all you need for sure.
But that should do it for us, folks. As always, subscribe, give us a good rating, tell your friends, tell your rich friends. Um, check out all the links below where we post this. We have links to all of our social media accounts, to our store where you can get some Taken on Sports t-shirts, and they have all kinds of weird stuff: t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, mouse pads, if anybody actually still uses
Nice.
those. Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff. Ooh, big hit there.
Yes.
But yeah, like we
Wow.
said, check out all the podcasts on the Alabama Take family of podcast. Uh, big things happening. I guess the Rumble is next Sunday.
Rumble next
Uh,
Saturday, yeah.
Saturday, yeah, that's right. They moved into Saturdays now, so I'm sure
Hmm.
the guys
That'll
over
be
the
big.
Alabama Slam will preview that this week. Um, but yeah, check out alabamatake.com for some writings and
Hmm.
such occasionally as well. Greg, bud, take it easy.
Me too.